You're talking to someone, the conversation is flowing, and then it stops. Silence. Just a few seconds. But it feels like forever. Your heart races. Your mind scrambles for something to say. Anything. You panic. And you blurt out the first thing that comes to mind just to fill the void. Why does silence feel so unbearable? Here's the truth. Silence doesn't feel awkward because something is wrong. It feels awkward because your brain thinks you're being judged. In those few seconds of quiet, your mind tells you a story. It says, they're bored. They think you're boring. They're uncomfortable. And that story triggers fear, not fear of silence. Think about the last time you sat in silence with someone you're completely comfortable with. Maybe a close friend, maybe a family member, maybe someone you've known for years. The silence didn't bother you, did it? You didn't scramble to fill it. You didn't panic. You just existed in it. Because with that person, you weren't worried about being judged. But put yourself in a conversation with someone new, someone you're trying to impress, someone whose opinion matters. The same silence hits differently. Suddenly, every second feels heavy. Suddenly, you're hyper-aware of the quiet. Not because the silence changed, but because your fear of judgment changed. So why does silence trigger this fear? It comes back to something called the spotlight effect. You assume people are paying more attention to you than they actually are. When the conversation stops, you think the other person is analyzing you, judging you, deciding whether you're interesting or awkward or worth their time. But here's what's really happening. They're probably thinking the exact same thing. They're wondering if they're boring, if they should say something, if the silence is their fault. They're just as uncomfortable as you are, but you can't see that. All you can see is your own discomfort, and you assume it's all on you. There's also something deeper at play. Silence forces you to sit with yourself, and for a lot of people, that's uncomfortable. When the conversation is flowing, you're distracted. You're reacting, you're performing. But when it stops, you're suddenly alone with your thoughts. And if you're not comfortable with yourself, that silence becomes unbearable. It's not really about the other person. It's about you avoiding the discomfort of just being. And then there's the social script. You've been taught that good conversations are smooth, that they flow naturally, that pauses mean something went wrong. So when silence happens, you interpret it as failure. You think, I ruined it. I don't know how to talk to people. I'm awkward, but that's not true. Conversations aren't supposed to be perfect. Silence is normal. It's natural. It's part of how people think and process and connect. But because you've been told it's bad, you react to it like it's a problem. Here's something that might surprise you. In some cultures, silence isn't awkward at all. It's respected. It's seen as a sign of thoughtfulness, of reflection, of comfort. In Western culture, we've been conditioned to fear it, to fill every gap, to never stop talking. But that's learned, it's not natural. And once you see that, the silence starts to lose its power. The reason silence feels so intense is because your brain is running worst-case scenarios. It's CATASTROPHIZING. It's telling you that this quiet moment means something terrible is happening. But it DOESN single quotes too. Most of the time, silence just means the conversation hit a natural pause. Someone is thinking. someone is processing. Someone ran out of things to say in that exact moment. That's it. Nothing deeper. Nothing more dramatic. But your brain doesn't accept that explanation. It wants to protect you. And protecting you means assuming the worst. Because if it assumes the worst, you'll be prepared. You'll react. You'll fix it. But in this case, there's nothing to fix. The silence isn't a threat. It's just a moment. And the more you react to it like it's a problem, the more awkward it actually becomes. Here's what happens when you panic and fill the silence with anything. You say something random, something forced, something that doesn't quite fit the flow of the conversation, and now the other person notices. Not because of the silence, but because you broke the silence in a way that felt unnatural. You created the awkwardness you were trying to avoid. So what do? How do you stop panicking when the conversation goes quiet? First, you recognize what's happening. When the silence hits and your heart starts racing, remind yourself, this isn't a threat. This is just a pause. The other person isn't judging me. They're probably just as uncomfortable as I am. And even if they are judging me, that's their issue, not mine. Second, you sit with it. Don't rush to fill the silence. Let it exist for a moment. 3 seconds. It feels like forever, but it's not. And if you can sit with it without panicking, you'll notice something. The silence doesn't actually hurt you. It's just uncomfortable, and discomfort isn't danger. Third, if you do want to say something, make it intentional. Don't blurt out the first thing that comes to mind. Take a breath, think for a second. Then say something that actually adds to the conversation, or ask a question, or make an observation. Something that feels natural, not forced. And here's the most important part. Stop seeing silence as failure. It's not, it's part of how conversations work. People need time to think, to process, to breathe. Silence doesn't mean the conversation is dying. It just means it's pausing. And that's okay. If you're with someone who's comfortable, they won't judge you for the silence. And if you're with someone who does judge you for it, that says more about them than it does about you. Comfortable people can sit in silence without making it weird. Insecure people can't. So if someone makes you feel bad for a natural pause, that's their discomfort, not yours. Silence feels awkward because your brain thinks it means something. It thinks it means you're failing. It thinks it means you're being judged. But most of the time, it doesn't mean anything at all. It's just a moment, a breath between words. And the more you let it be what it is, the less power it has over you. The next time you're in a conversation and the silence hits, don't panic. Don't scramble. Just let it exist. Notice how it feels. Notice that nothing terrible happens. Notice that the other person is probably just as uncomfortable as you are. And then, when you're ready, say something. Or don't, because either way, you're okay. You don't have to perform in every moment. You don't have to fill every gap. You're allowed to exist in silence without it meaning something is wrong. And the more you practice this, the more natural it becomes. The silence stops feeling like a threat. It starts feeling like what it actually is. Just a moment, just a pause. just part of being human. So if this helped, if any of this made sense, leave a comment and let me know. What do you usually do when silence hits? Do you panic? Do you fill it? Or have you learned to just sit with it? You're not alone in this. And sometimes just knowing that is enough to make the silence a little less scary.